Hi all, my name is Malika and today we are having Olumide Akinwande. Olu is a founder of Montech Software Studios. They provide blockchain-based engineer solutions. Olu, we are very happy to have you today.
How are you? It's very nice to be here today.
Yeah, likewise, thank you. And yeah, how you first did become interested in crypto?
Uh, when I first became interested in crypto, I think it was 2016, where I learned about Bitcoin, and it was really fascinating. I almost instantaneously knew what it was, and that was where the journey started. And then it really transformed into learning how to build on blockchains. That was kind of like my biggest fascination, and how the blockchain technology can change the world. So
Yeah, and how exactly blockchain technology can change the world?
Blockchain is essentially, a form of database that allows for transparency, trustless environments, and the system that like the technology that we're currently using now are just kind of these centralized environments where there's no accountability or there's no trust in the system. So and blockchain kind of is able to put that trust back in the system.
Yeah, thank you so much. And what are the main advantages of using crypto compared to traditional fiat currencies?
Fiat currencies have a purpose and cryptocurrencies have a purpose. So, fiat currencies, allow for us with our day-to-day spending, and cryptocurrencies are just are native assets that run on a particular blockchain. So, too many times I think that there's a misconception that cryptocurrencies can just take away the value of fiat currencies, but I personally don't feel like that's ever the case. It's really more that they complement each other in a digital environment. So
Yeah, thank you. And what is your favorite cryptocurrency and why?
it's probably Ethereum, because that was the very first blockchain that I learned to build on. And just kind of what the protocol represents. The protocol has over 1 million developers that weren't building on blockchains a few years prior to that. So Ethereum has really created a large ecosystem of growth and just monetary wealth, intellectual wealth, and yeah, so I would probably say it's Ethereum, just because of it was one of the very first blockchains I ever built an application on.
Cool. Yeah, thank you, Olo. And how do you see crypto evolving in the future?
I've More adoption definitely, is transitioning from this third party intermediary kind of service model to kind of trustless environments, zero knowledge proofs, and more just adoption in the ecosystem. That's more where I see it.
Totally. Yeah, thank you. And how do you see crypto impacting traditional financial systems?
Well, traditional financial systems are very centralized in nature. So the way that blockchains, can come in and essentially allow for more transparency. I'm not saying that a financial company will run their transactions in a public kind of public environment, but they would have a private permission kind of environment that they would run their transactions on, which essentially is more of a cleansing of the financial system, because there's immutability that comes into play and transaction fees will definitely go back to zero. So it's really kind of more of a cleansing of the financial system to move into a much more efficient environment, and kind of removing any kind of like third-party intermediaries from that service as well. So
Okay, yeah. And what are some common misconceptions about crypto?
I think a misconception is probably that like every crypto is probably a scam. And I think the best thing to know about any cryptocurrency is that a crypto currency needs utility. So if you can't do anything with it, then why does it have a value? So sometimes when you have, like things like meme coins or ish coins, people don't really think that they have value, but sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. But a cryptocurrency must have a utility to have some sort of value. Like that's probably what I think is probably is, yeah. So.
Yeah, makes sense, totally. And what advice do you have for someone who is new to the crypto world?
I would say learn. The main thing is to like learn the ecosystem rather than just kind of learning about crypto prices. The prices kind of grab the attention, kind of like Las Vegas and like big bright lights. But when you take a look at the protocols, and then you begin to look at the SDKs, the documentation, the releasing of different networks, the problems that each blockchain has kind of solved, that's a lot more interesting than prices. So I would say, avoid the prices, focus on the protocols, focus on the use cases of blockchains, and I think there's a lot of value there. So.
In my opinion, it's still too complicated for someone new, like how to focus on protocol if you're like.
Oh, okay, very true, very true. Okay, so it's more about learning about because most people aren't going to go read the white paper on Bitcoin. Most people haven't, but I would encourage them to challenge themselves and like, hey, you can actually be somebody who read the entire white paper, and even if you don't understand it, like there'll be so many questions that will come into your mind, and then everything's a Google search away, and there's a lot simpler ways of explaining things. So I think that those are ways just for us to just challenge ourselves intellectually, because blockchain is complicated, but it's not it's not anything that any person can like any person with some sort of drive can easily learn it. So.
Okay, thank you so much. And what is your response to the criticism that cryptocurrencies are primarily used for illicit activities or money laundering?
Well, fiat currencies are used, in the same manner. So it's never the instrument. It's always the intent of the person who is using the instrument. So, and crypto does provide a very there is an angle for it to be used in that way, but the main purpose of it is to provide transparency, to be a native asset of a blockchain, because that's all a cryptocurrency is. It's a native asset of a blockchain. So I would, I would just leave it at that.
Okay, thank you, Olu. And how do you address concerns about the lack of regulation and oversight in the crypto space?
Well, recently the XRP SEC case closed, so that has provided, some sort of foundational floor where I think that every single project now can see where they exist in the ecosystem, and there's a lot more regulation in play. I think most countries outside the US have provided, pretty clear regulation on cryptocurrencies and how they, perceive them and the way that they can be used within, specific countries. So, it's just really more of governments catching up and being able to put out regulation that protects consumers. And that's one of the most important things, to protect consumers against scams, because for every good project that you have, there are 10, pump coins and all of these. So that's really what they're trying to guard against. They're not really trying to guard against Ethereum and Bitcoin. It's all the, small tertiary, minuscule projects that are, robbing investors and all that. So.
Thank you. Yeah, you're totally right. And now a personal question. Have you ever lost money investing in crypto, and what did you learn from this experience?
Yes, I have lost money in investing in crypto, and what I learned from it is cryptocurrency is highly volatile. Liquidity pools in crypto is probably one of the main things that everyone should understand the liquidity pools of the assets that you're buying. If you're buying an asset that doesn't have much liquidity in it, it's going to be very hard for that price can be easily manipulated by the market. So you want to invest in assets that have ample liquidity and don't chase pump coins, so.
And Olu, how do you address concerns about the lack of transparency and accountability in the crypto space?
Well, I think there's been a lot of accountability in the crypto space as far as compliance and regulation, and all of these things, take time to kind of iron out. And, we all are a part of the audience where we're, seeing all of these different cases playing out, and we're seeing the maturation of the market. I remember in 2017 or 2016, it was an entirely different space. The banks and other financial institutions wouldn't touch it with a 10-foot pole. Now, there's many articles out now on CoinDesk and other, news sources, about, the collaboration between Web3 companies and traditional Web2 finance companies, and JP Morgan and their platform Onyx, which is, their in-house kind of private blockchain that they're running. So there's been a lot of maturation, and I'm excited to see where, the crypto space moves, moving forward.
Thank you. Yeah. And how do you address concerns about the potential for crypto to be used to evade taxes?
Well, that's where KYC and AML comes in. All of these exchanges that you're able to cash out into fiat currency, you have to essentially, give your ID, social, or, any kind of government issued ID. So it's mainly up for the exchanges and all of the financially regulated institutions to be able to, communicate properly with the governments in their own countries and, enforce that, because blockchains are here to make everything transparent. So, if you buy one thing from somebody, it's always on a blockchain, and and then understanding what is a taxable event and what is not a taxable event, that's a whole nother story in itself. But I think KYC AML protects against those types of anonymous players in the market. So
yeah. And although, how do you stay updated on the latest developments and trends in the industry?
Minority Venture Capital, they have a great news feed and blogs where they, essentially aggregate a lot of content from around the crypto space, and it keeps me up to date. But they're the same sources: CoinMarketCap, they always crypto.com, and whatever's really interesting. There's a lot of newsletters that I, get in my inbox as well, where it's kind of more developer updates, where we can keep up with, just different progresses of different protocols and EIP standards that have, recently been released. So it kind of comes from everywhere, and, just kind of what, interests me. So, those are just a few.
Okay, cool. Yeah. And would you recommend buying Bitcoin now?
What's the price right now? It's like $1 million. No, I think it's like 29 or 30. So I think that everyone should own a little bit of Bitcoin. It's and I think the like once you buy a little bit of Bitcoin, it just kind of opens up this wealth of knowledge for you to just say, all right, like, so what do I own? And then, that information right there is golden, and it can, just, change your world. So I would recommend, everyone to own just a little bit, maybe a lot of it,
Yeah. Okay. Thank you so much, Olu. It was nice chatting with you.